So I wanted to share a clip with you guys from an episode of the podcast that was originally updated on May 17th, where Bernie Sanders, as well as progressives like myself, were very specific in our warnings about Hillary Clinton and how the Democratic Party was basically courting disaster if they try to rig the primary against Bernie Sanders and if they actually go forward with someone like Hillary Clinton who cannot enthuse the base. And basically everything that we said, that Bernie Sanders said, that I said, that other progressives said was 100% correct. And I take no pleasure in being right here. I wish I was wrong, but nonetheless, I think it's important that we go back through and learn from our mistakes, specifically that the Democratic Party learns from their mistakes, because we warned them, and I'm just hoping that they'll listen to us going forward. So here's that clip. Recently, the Bernie Sanders campaign has released a new campaign email that has ruffled the establishment's feathers. So it reads, a trio of polls released yesterday showed Hillary Clinton in a very difficult spot against Donald Trump. She led by 1 in Florida and Pennsylvania and actually trailed him by 4% in Ohio. For months, Bernie Sanders has outpolled Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, and often by extraordinarily large margins. Because we must do everything we can to defeat Trump in November, our mission is to win as many pledged delegates as we can between now and June 14th. Then we're going to have a contested convention where the Democratic Party must decide if they want the candidate with the momentum who is best positioned to beat Trump, or if they are willing to roll the dice and court disaster simply to protect the status quo for the political and financial establishment of this country. Now, the word disaster is specifically what's irking them. So here's what the campaign meant by that.
So what do you mean by disaster?
Well, look, electing Trump to the presidency of the United States would be an unmitigated disaster. Having the Republicans continue to control both houses of Congress would be a disaster. Having Republicans make gains in governor seats would be a disaster. If you've seen recent polling, and I know CNN reported them yesterday, battleground state polls show consistently now, both nationally and in battleground states, that Bernie Sanders is a much stronger candidate against Donald Trump than is Secretary Clinton. In fact, those polls show that Secretary Clinton
You're saying, Jeff, if Hillary Clinton were to become the nominee, it would be a disaster for the Democratic Party and the nation.
No, I said it says courting disaster. If the disaster would be the election of Donald Trump. I think Democrats need to nominate the strongest candidate against Donald Trump. And all the polling demonstrates consistently now that Bernie Sanders is a much stronger candidate. And not only that, but he brings out large numbers of people who might not otherwise participate, a lot of young people. He's very strong with independents, so that he can create the kind of momentum that will not only elect a president, but also elect Democrats up and down the ballot. That's what we need.
Do you notice there how she tried to trap him and actually get him to call Clinton's campaign a disaster? I see what you're doing there, Karen. Is your name Karen? I think her name is Karen or Carol. Can I call you Carol? Karen? It doesn't matter. I see what you're doing there, Karen. Now, getting to the substance of what Jeff Weaver said, he's 100% right. So the establishment, mostly the media establishment, but also the political establishment and Democratic Party members, they're trying to paint this election as lopsided. So if it does turn out to be Clinton versus Trump, they're trying to frame it as though Trump is so crazy that Hillary Clinton is going to win by a landslide. That's not true. He has basically erased her lead. Whatever lead she had, it's gone. It evaporated. And that's because the more that people hear Hillary Clinton, the less they like her. And apparently the more they hear Donald Trump, the more they like him. Everyone thought that Donald Trump wouldn't win because the Republican voters who supported Bush or Cruz or Christie, well, they wouldn't switch over to Trump. We're learning that that's certainly not true, and furthermore, he's able to win over a lot of independents. Hillary Clinton is not able to do that. So I do want to talk about the polls that were mentioned in the email. So it does show that within the 3 swing states that were mentioned, Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are both in statistical ties. So in Florida, Clinton beats Trump 43-42, and Trump erases the advantage that she has among women. She leads 48-35 among women, but Trump leads 49-36 among men. Also, the advantage that she had among non-white voters is effectively erased. She leads 63-20%, but Trump has an advantage with white voters, 52-33%. So any advantage that Hillary Clinton had is gone now. Trump erased them. Now, Bernie Sanders only fares a little bit better. He fares 44-42 against Trump in a hypothetical matchup, but 43% of people actually have a favorable opinion of him, whereas Hillary is still in the negative. So you still want to go with Bernie over Hillary Clinton. Now, when it comes to Ohio, Trump leads 43-39, And as the saying goes, a Republican can't win the White House unless they win Ohio, and Trump may very well do that. Now, Trump also erases Hillary Clinton's advantage with women and minorities here. So she leads among women 43 to 36, but he leads among men 51 to 36. Clinton again leads with non-white voters 76 to 14, but Trump leads with white voters 49 to 32. So however well that she's doing among those demographics, he's doing almost equally well with whites and men. So it's gone. Now that's the same case in Pennsylvania. So Clinton leads 43 to 42, and you see the same trends. Clinton leads with women 51 to 32. Trump leads with men 54 to 33. Clinton also leads with non-white voters 74 to 14 again, and Trump leads with whites 48 to 37. Now, Obama was actually polling similarly in these three states at the same point in 2012, but he ended up winning all three states. So that's something that needs to be said. Mitt Romney was actually leading in Florida by 1 point, and Obama was ahead by single digits in Ohio and Pennsylvania. But this is a very different election, and Obama's unfavorability ratings weren't as high as Clinton's. And also, Obama was able to capture the youth vote. Hillary Clinton is not able to do that. And there's also a burn your bus movement that even if just a fraction of them actually don't vote for Hillary Clinton, that could be devastating in a general election. So this is completely different than 2012. But I want to point that out just to be fair. Now, the takeaway is obviously that Bernie Sanders is still the best general election candidate to go against Trump. That's been the case, and that hasn't changed. So I'm not willing to roll the dice with Hillary Clinton, someone who could very well be indicted during a general election. See, the thing that's funny is that Hillary Clinton, throughout this entire campaign, as well as her supporters, have been trying to scare us with the big Republican boogeyman, saying if you don't vote for Hillary Clinton, someone is more electable, then you're going to get a Republican in office. And now we actually have data showing that if you vote for Hillary Clinton, you'll be more likely to get the big Republican boogeyman that we're all scared of, that you've been trying to scare us with from the beginning. But you're not changing your support. You're still supporting Hillary Clinton. So do you not actually care about the Republican boogeyman like you say you do? I know Hillary Clinton doesn't, because if she actually was running to prevent a Republican from getting into office like she says, well, then she'd drop out, because Bernie Sanders is a much more competitive candidate against the Republicans. And furthermore, if I'm recalling it correctly, Bernie is not being investigated by the FBI. Oh, excuse me. He's not currently undergoing a security review, which we know is bogus. So look, here's the thing about Hillary Clinton. She is in this because she wants to increase their power. She's in this for narcissistic reasons, whereas Bernie Sanders is in this because he actually cares about the American people. We know he got in the race because Elizabeth Warren decided not to run. And I'll just outright say what they wanted Bernie Sanders to say, what Carol wanted Bernie Sanders to say, that Clinton's campaign is a disaster. She's running a terrible campaign. A terrible campaign. She's running a negative campaign. We all know, if you have read any political science studies, you know that if you attack a candidate, especially one with high favorabilities like Bernie Sanders, then your net favorability goes down. And if you look at overall trends, that's been the case. I've been yelling about this since the beginning of the election, and Hillary Clinton isn't listening, so maybe she doesn't watch the Humanist Report, but it's just common sense, honestly. I mean, she has people that she pays the big bucks to crunch numbers for her, to actually read the studies to show what works. But Hillary Clinton doesn't care. She's in this to win this for herself and Bill. And it doesn't matter if they take the country down as a result.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.